We're counting down to the official reopening of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, and Channel's television correspondent Lucky Obewe-Sawade reports that everything is on track, and Ethiopian Airlines is to land at about 11 a.m. today, following approval given by the federal government. Now, some of the other issues or some of the other areas that have been taken care of, apart from the runway, are facilities that are to cater for the elderly and the infirm, and operators are quite excited to return back to business. So we're tracking that particular development story for you, and you can track it along with us. Just go to our website to get all the updates and follow us on any of our social media platforms. Let me just remind you, it's at Channels TV and at Channels24_UK, or you can also follow at Biz Morning to keep up to speed, keep up with the developing story. Now, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday night fired and replaced heads of about 23 federal agencies, including the Pension Commission, Consumer Protection, Privatization, Export Processing Zone, the Social Insurance Trust Fund, and the Federal Mortgage Bank. Now, this is the first of such massive sacking of heads of federal parastatals in the Buhari's administration that inches towards its second anniversary on May the 29th. Now, other agencies affected by the shake-up includes the Automotive Council, the Institute of Social and Economic Research, the Lottery Regulatory Commission, the Nigeria Insurance Commission, and the Research Institute of Chemical Technology, among others. What effect will this have on investors' perception? Seun Onigbinde, lead partner at Budget, joins the conversation. Seun, good morning to you. It's great to have you on the program.
I'm happy to be here today.
Seun, first off, what was your thinking, the first thing that crossed your mind when you read this particular story broke on Thursday night?
I guess it's overdone. It's something that the President Buhari should have done, like 6 months into his regime or into his administration. But I'm happy that it's finally happening. 2 years almost gone. And if you look at a bit of CVs of those who have been nominated, I think some level of competence is seen. For example, the Consumer Protection Council will be led by a lawyer, Babatunde Rukera, someone that people can understand his competence. We also contested for the Kogi State gubernatorial primaries under the APC. Speaking of all of them, were also people who were party faithful. So people like Jasper Zutalam were also there for the NSITF. You could also even find that Jelani and Liu would reach the National Automotive Council. And that's a shocker for me, because this is someone who has built a global brand in designing vehicles for global companies, global automotive companies. I'm just curious to see what he's going to do within the next few years, because if you bring someone who's young and exposed, I hope he's able to understand the context and get all the support to really be successful.
But apart from that, investors will be hoping to see the continuation of most of the policies that have actually been started, most of the regulatory policy frameworks and the rest that these other predecessors actually put in place. Do you expect that to continue? For the Automotive Council, for instance, it's really very important at this time, especially as the federal government is hoping to encourage that aspect of the industry to grow.
Yeah, it's very important to continue. You know, the former administration, give it to them, of Goodluck Jonathan, really pushed hard on us to be assembling our cars or our vehicles within the Nigerian space. And that was very impressive that a lot of people latched onto that. And the noise, it looks like the euphoria has been died down since the last 2 years as this administration has been on board. And I hope that we will not just be just an assembly point, we will also be one that we can produce key spare parts of vehicles. And these are the spaces where we have a large country, and automobile is really something that is huge for us. So it's something. NSITF is also something we look forward to. There's been a whole lot of conversation about a lot of abuse within that organization the last few years. And so it's someone that the caliber of people that President Buhari put there looks like the people that can do things with much more fairness and much more understanding. The mortgage bank is somewhere I also found architect leading. And I feel that if the mortgage system is something we need to get right. There's been a conversation recently about us restarting our mortgage with a lot of trillions of naira. But I think if the mortgage bank keys strongly into that, we can have a much more better society where home ownership is much more easy. So 2 years to go before the end of this administration, because nobody knows what happens in 2019 if someone else is going to come in. I think it's enough time to set another marker. And if they find that they are good enough, I'm telling the incoming administration, or maybe Buhari will keep them.
Well, Seun, you're the lead partner of one of this, the budget, and budget always pushes for transparency and accountability. Taking a look at the list and taking a look at the aspirations and the hope that Nigerians, including investors, will be expecting, talk to us a little bit about what firms like budget will be looking out for from this new team.
Yeah, so one thing you have is that there was a time a senator said Nigeria's budget is not 7 trillion naira, it's not 4 trillion naira. It's up to 20 trillion naira, because there are a lot of parastatals that attach the federal government that you don't even see their budgets. So you might assume that the corruption is only within the MDs that are recognized under the budget. A lot more happens outside the agencies that are much more independent and has their own budget. So I think more transparency has to come about their budgets, how they spend funds of public resources. Because they're raising funds or they're receiving funds on behalf of the government, and they're supposed to be able to remit it optimally. It's something that we have not done. There was a time that we said you should give back 80% of your operating surplus. And that operating surplus became a very, very nebulous term that anybody calls anything operating surplus. So you declare, you get 7 trillion naira, you spend 6.9 trillion naira, then you remit a very, very token and say this is our operating surplus. So we need to also put more efficiency, more transparency, and more accountability in those agencies, not just the ones within the budget space. And I think if the government does, because if any of these agencies, the salaries across these agencies are not even harmonized. The overhead costs, the BS sometimes can't be justified. And just because a lot of time they are without the scrutiny of the legislature or even without the cost scrutiny of the executive.
But then the Ministry of Finance has introduced the efficiency unit that, and also encouraged that to be, replicated in most of the ministries, departments and agencies. So that's not really, that should get us where we want to be.
That should be, but I don't think I've seen, recently I've been digging for it, we've asked questions. I don't think I've seen, I think there's a lot of resistance from the ministries, a whole lot of resistance for the efficiency unit. And if the Ministry of Finance, if they are being sincere, I don't think it has gotten that traction of how much they hope that it would get.
When you say being sincere, in what aspects? I think, I'm not holding brief for anybody here, but they're being as sincere as possible, publishing the figures the way they get it, interfacing with the public and with the private sector, with the media as much as possible to bring them up to speed with what it is that they're doing and what they've discovered.
Things like pensions, fine, you're uncovering ghost pension, we've done that for years now. Things like efficiency units, you need to leverage on the group buying power of the federal government. We want to buy computers, we want to buy vehicles, we want to buy photocopying machines. Why do every ministry have to buy everything separate? And when they buy things separate, they don't buy even at the optimal price. They buy at a very, very ridiculous price. And that was my own thought about the efficiency unit. That when the efficiency unit is on board, the federal government will get its pricing right on most key budget line items. And that means every institution has to cooperate. Even when you even talk about buying airline tickets for government personnel, it's something that has to properly harmonize so that we know that this is the standard for it. But all of that, I've not seen that clear to say these are the savings we've made from that, because the feeling that I get from the ministries and the agencies that there's a bit of pushback to say we still want to do things in our own way, And maybe what we should do more is to standardize the equipment. If say, okay, you're going to buy this laptop, this is the standard of the laptop you're going to buy, and this is what the baseline should be, and maybe we can get close. But to say you want to do that group buying power and being able to cut costs, I don't think that has happened so much in this administration.